This is Proverbs 11 and 4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. I like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloyim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Baruch HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shuab Mawan back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, all right? Back to its original context, just paper, all right? And we talking about this dollar bill, all right? Because the dollar bill is on the verge of literally falling and collapsing forever, okay? And this is why riches profit not in the day of wrath, okay? Your money can't save you, okay? Because a lot of people in America, all right, money is their God, all right? They worship money, all right? America's a place of making money. People come from all over the world to make money and make a better life, supposedly, right, for themselves, all right? But see, your money, your riches in these last days, all right, are not going to be able to save you, okay? Especially you elites, okay? Because eventually, even, you know, the elites, their gold and their silver is not going to be worth anything, okay? As a matter of fact, let's grab this. This is, let's grab this. This is James 5 and James 5 and let's take it from 1. It says, and I'll take it from the NLT. It says, warning to the rich, look here, you rich people, weep and groan with anguish because of your terrible troubles ahead of you. Your wealth is rotting away and your fine clothes are moth-eaten rags, all right? And this is talking about these elites that rule the world, okay? It says, your gold and your silver have become worthless. The very wealth you were counting on will eat away your flesh like fire. This treasure you have accumulated will stand as evidence against you on the day of judgment, you see? So on the day of judgment, all right, again, riches is not going to profit you. You're not going to be able to sign a check for the Heavenly Father, man. All right, you're not going to be able to barter with the Lord, all right, with gold and silver when the time comes of your judgment, all right? And that goes for any of you Israelites out there that have money, okay? Any of you niggas that's celebrities, you know, actors that are our people, okay? None of these things are going to be able to help you, all right, reach salvation, all right? That's why we are considered as that poor man when it comes into the scriptures, okay? As a matter of fact, when you go to Micah, I believe it's Micah, not Micah, Zephaniah 3 and 7, I believe it is. Salakia 3 and 12 and Zephaniah, it says, I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You see, so we are considered as poor people to the Heavenly Father, man. We don't have much, okay? We don't have nothing, but see, we're rich in faith, all right? The Lord said in Revelations, all right, 2 and 9, right? It says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, you see? And that's in parentheses. Why? Because it's emphasizing that we're rich with what? With faith, okay? And I know the blasphemies of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, all right? And that's talking about our people first, you see, before we can actually use that precept to use against these little hatters, man, okay? So we, all right, our people, all right, actually followed after the ways of these heathen men, followed after the ways of these oppressors, right? So they're the synagogue of Satan, okay? Because they come in the working of Satan, and that's what they're being compared to, all right? So before you can actually use that precept towards these little headers, all right, it goes to our people first, all right? But the point is, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, okay, rich in faith. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, okay? So the Lord is dealing with the poor, always has, with the forlorn, okay? The ones that are likely to be successful. We're not successful with money. That's why these people will laugh at us, scorn at us. You know, they tell us to go get jobs. You know, got some bums, some broke ass niggas on the streets just preaching the word. Okay. But see, at the end of the day, y'all all going to eat y'all words because y'all about to be as broke as we are. You see, because your God, all right, is going to go back to its original context, which is just paper, a piece of paper to wipe your ass with. All right. Because money was never something that was, you know, truly valuable, man. It was just monopoly money, man. It was just for the time being. All right. Real riches go into having actual gold and silver, you know, having slaves, having land. All right. That's what makes you rich, you see. But Esau has created the illusion of you having, you know, actual paper money to make you think that you're something, you know, in this society, when these elites don't even deal with money, man. None of these elites actually have money, man. They got gold. They got slave money. You see? You don't see these people going to a store and they're going to go out there and buy, pull out $100, $200, $300. Nah, man, these niggas got black cards and shit. If that, you see? They don't even have to show any of that, man. They're just already the rulers of the world. So, hey, real recognize real, you know, at the end of the day. So, again, the Lord is not dealing with anybody that has money. Okay, it says in the scriptures it's better for a needle to go through the eye of a camel than for a rich man to make it into the kingdom. You see? So again, the Lord is not dealing with anybody that has actual money. Okay. So going back to James 5:3, it says, your gold and silver have become worthless. The very wealth you were counting on will eat your flesh like fire. This treasure you have accumulated will stand as evidence against you on the day of judgment. Yeah, because all this gold, all these, you know, all this money, all these riches that you have were gotten by deceit, as the scriptures say, right? Let's grab that real quick. This is Ecclesiasticus 10 and 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. You see? So these riches that they have, all right, have been gotten by deceit, man. Their riches, all right, everything established, okay, has been built on lies and robbery, bloodshed. Okay, they have done wickedness for their riches. They have come in the working of Satan for their riches. You see, they didn't do this in a righteous manner. Okay, so going back to James 5, all right, this treasure you have accumulated will stand as evidence against you on the day of judgment. Okay, and that's for these elites. Okay, now for the rest of the world, man, your dollar, your God that you worship so much is about to collapse. It's about to fall. All right, and you're all about to be on the same page as us, having no money, having nothing. The difference between us is we have richness and faith. We have Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. What do you have? You see, a lot of these people going to commit suicide when this dollar collapses. A lot of these people just going to kill each other, man. Okay, because they have no more money. Their God has fallen, and they realized that their God, all right, was a psyops created by Esau. You see? So it says, for listen, hear the cries of the field workers whom you have cheated of their pay. Yeah, we've always been cheated of our pay. Okay, when you go into Haggai, all right, we're never paid what we're really worth, man. At the end of the day, here it is. We're supposed to get paid on a daily basis after work. Okay, and these devils won't even pay you. They make you wait 1 week, 2 weeks, fuck up your checks. Now you waiting 3 weeks, 4 weeks, for money that's owed to you. All right. So, they don't treat you the way they're supposed to. When you go to Haggai 1:6, it says what? It says, ye have sown much, you bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. You see? NLT says, you have planted much, but harvested little. You eat, but are not satisfied. You drink, but are still thirsty. You put on clothes, but cannot keep warm. Your wages disappear as though you were putting them into pockets filled with holes, man. So you hear this, you'll get a paycheck. You feel good that you get a paycheck. But man, that shit goes right back to Uncle Sam, man. It goes right back through the system. You see, you got to pay your bills. You got to pay your rent, right? You got to pay your car note. Okay, you got to buy things for the house, for the food, for your kids. And by the time you look at it, you broke as hell again, man. That's straight captivity, man. While these devils put their feet up and are basically, making money off of you all day long. All right. They charge you interest so they can keep that. That's how they gain their money. That's how they stack their money, by charging you interest. Because as the scriptures tell you in the 28th chapter of Deuteronomy, right? That we shall be that they shall lend to us, these other nations, all right, that they will be the head and we will be the tail. So we have to go to them for the want of all things. We have to go to them for them to lend money onto us. Basically giving you that paycheck is them lending you the money for the time being, but you're going to give it right back to them, you see. So let's go back. All right, matter of fact, Deuteronomy 28, and forgot where that one's at. Let me just look for it real quick. 44, it says, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. You see? And eventually these curses will come up off of us, right? And then we're going to be the ones that are going to lend to them. All right? We're going to have everything in our hands. All right? They're going to have to come to us for the want of all things. All right? But as of now, we're under these curses, you see? So we work for nothing, basically, man. Okay? Let's go back to James 5 and 4. It says, for listen, hear the cries of the field workers whom you have cheated of their pay. The wages you held back cry against you. The cries of those who harvest your fields have reached the ears of the Lord of heaven's army. You have spent your years in earth and luxury, satisfying your every desire. You have fattening yourselves for the day of slaughter. You have condemned and killed the innocent people who do not resist you. You see? So this is going again to these top banker families, man. Okay. Matter of fact, let me see real quick.
Salakia, fucking Esau kicked me the fuck off. Of course, every time you talk about these banking families, all right, which I'm waiting for my internet to turn back on, and I'll switch it back to my other phone because I wanted to show. I believe I have a video for the dollar collapsing. All right, but while I can, okay, let me just bring this out. All right, Salakia. I was going into. Let me grab this real quick. This is Isaiah. All right, 10, and let's grab it from 13. It says, "For he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it." All right, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bonds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. You see, and my hand has found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all. Excuse me, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped. Okay, then that's basically these top banking families boasting themselves in the riches that they have, because they are what? They are riches that are gotten by the sea. They have robbed us of our spoils, man. They have robbed us of the things that we once had. Okay, and then they'll try to say that, they gained these things through their own wisdom. They gained it through their own ways. All right. When it's Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, all right, that basically has allowed them to do these things. That's why it tells you the next verse, shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith, or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself as if it were no wood. You see? So, all these treasures that they've heaped in these last days, all right, they're not going to be able to save them in the time of destruction. Okay, let's go back to real quick, all right, James, and finish that up. All right, and it's not going to help any of our people neither that have heaped treasures, right? This is 5:1, and it says, you have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. You have nourished your hearts as in the day of the slaughter. You see, so they have lived in pleasure all their lives, man. Okay, they have basically. Let me grab Job. All right, they are able to pass down wealth onto the people. All right, when you go into Job 21:8, it says 7, it says, wherefore do the wicked live, become old, and are mighty in power. Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of Yahweh upon them. Yeah, they're not in trouble like other men. Okay? And the point is that their seed is established. So from one they're able to drop down that wealth from, place to from generation to generation. Our people don't have no generational wealth. Okay, the only generational wealth that you have is having this faith. You see, that's why you are truly rich. Okay, now let me switch this back to this channel so I can play that video, since Esau done cut my ass off. Fucking guy. All right. Let me make sure. There you go. All right.
There you go. It might get cut off again. Who knows? All right, but I'll try to make it quick. All right. So let's go to a quick video. And I'll grab a couple precepts and I'll cut it off. All right. And like I said, all right, back to its original context. It's just going to be a piece of paper that really meant nothing. All right. Never meant nothing. Okay. To our people. All right. It was used to, kill each other. It was used to you know, bring us down. Okay. Look how our people fight for money. It was used as a god, all right, to guide you astray from your God, from your true power. Okay, when it never meant nothing. So let's grab this real quick. This is this video I'm about to play. Let me just play it real quick on my Bluetooth. Not trying to make it long because Esau already cut my shit off. So we just start talking about these damn elites. They get, you know, they get their panties in a bunch. It's lucky. So it says US dollar collapse. I just played this one video.
It is Tuesday on the 27th, and major predictions ahead. Obviously, we are living in a complete U.S. dollar collapse reset, but it's important to understand and zero in and focus on the fact that they're resetting us into a new dollar. Okay, so I've explained in a lot of detail how the elites have repriced gold and silver by design. Again, their old central bank reserve.
And you have to understand this new dollar that they're going to bring upon us is this digital currency, man, which that digital currency will turn into the RFID. All right, you're not going to be able to have money, buy or sell unless you have this RFID, which is part of their B system, you see? So it's important to know what the prophecy is, man, because you got people that will try to fool you. All right. And as false prophets, they're misleading you. All right. To make you think that this RFID is not the actual MOTB, man. And it is. It will always be, whether they like it or not. All right. And the vision is yet for an appointed time. And at the end, it shall speak, and it's speaking through the true mouth of the prophets. You see?
Currency, and they're using that and that new wealth that they've created, and they're transferring all of that into the new digitized dollar behind the scenes. This is going on right now. So as the U.S. government stacks its strategic reserve, and it's soon to be emergency announcement, this will come quick.
And this is why you see gold at an all-time high. Gold is at fucking $5,300, I think it is right now. $5,300 value-wise. Silver is at 130. You see, and it's going to continue to rise up. All these prices on gold, on precious metals are going to continue to go up, because when you see that, that's already a sign that the dollar is going to collapse. Okay. That's how you know America's in distress, man, especially that we're in the middle of war. Whenever there's war, money always collapse. Okay. Look at the Great Depression. Before the Great Depression happened, we was already, it happened because we was in war. You see, so we're in war now. So you can only see why this dollar will collapse. Okay. Us being in war with our own allies shows you that the dollar is going to collapse. Everybody switching to these BRICS nations, all right, and going to their currency shows you that our dollar has no more value. And here it is. You have Mr. DJ, all right, your crew lord, your president, tell you, oh no, the dollar is stronger than everything. Everything is stronger than ever. Everything is good. And he straight lying to you in your face when the dollar got no fucking value. You see? You got a shortage on pennies right now, you know, pretty soon changing on be nowhere. Okay. Also, so that already shows you that money here in America is done for. Okay. America's collapse, society will collapse, and the dollar will collapse with it. Okay. Because in order for them to bring in this new world order, they have to get rid of the old world order, man. And the money, all right, is basically from the old paths. You see? So it's guaranteed to fall, guaranteed to disappear and become nothing but just paper. Okay.
In 2026, that yes, the US dollar has been officially reset into a stable coin equivalent. So understand that's the plan. There's a lot of focus. It's actually been going viral all over the internet the last few days. People are zeroing in on the Dixie chart, the US dollar index, which has been in complete free fall the last few years. Like absolute trash and just dumping straight into the toilet is hyperinflation, and purchasing power like Zimbabwe hits the United.
And that's what's going to happen eventually. It's going to be a hyperinflation. All right. You think because you're able to see, gas, gas went down. That's because first of all, we're in the dead winter. So people ain't getting gas as much as they can. All right. Not only that, people ain't got the money to go fucking anywhere. So the gas has to go down. All right. But this is why your cost of living is high. This is why going to the food markets, things are high, and they're going to get higher and higher with hyperinflation, man. All right. Scriptures talk about that in the Revelations, the 6th chapter. Okay. One measure of barley for wheat. Why? Because it's going into hyperinflation. It's going into inflation, period.
States of America. So understand that this is the plan, and this is how they reset the system into the new technology sphere, which makes up Bitcoin, cryptos, Trump's strategic reserve. But also understand,
and even that, all that bullshit is not going to work neither, because that's transferable money still. You see, people's got a lot of money in Bitcoin. That shit's going to fall with the dollar also, because this new currency is just going to be a specific digital dollar that's non-transferable, man, between people. It's only going to be transferable it's going to be able to be transferred between you and the system. That's it. All right. You can still do all types of loopholes and all types of bullshit with Bitcoin and things like that, man. Scams and shit. All right. But this new system, all right, you ain't going to be able to have no loopholes and no scams. That's why Bitcoin would eventually go with the dollar. See, Bitcoin and those things were brought out to gradually make you think that to gradually, it's called gradualism, to make you feel what it's like to have that type of currency, you see, to normalize it little by little, oh shit, we've always had Bitcoin. We've always had a digital dollar. What's the problem with me jumping into this next digital dollar? You see? So it's there to basically be a prequel of what's actually going to be brought out, all right, as that digital currency. Okay.
God bless you all. It is observed, but also understand, and I've made myself clear, the United States government is not moving to a Bitcoin standard. No, they're moving to a diversified, sovereign portfolio of cryptos, and then the new dollar will be in a digital format. Okay, it's going to be tethered. It's going to be a fiat digital equivalent. This is not going to be what El Salvador, for example, is doing in the US. Now, there are also Eurozone equivalents as well. And so that's all. God bless you all. It is Tuesday on the 27th. And
you hear it. Man, listen, bro, this dollar is about to collapse any day. All right. And then, as a matter of fact, not to be so long, let's grab this straight to the point. This is Ezekiel. All right. The matter of fact, before I grab Ezekiel, let's go to Genesis 47. All right. Because we're spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt. Right. So look at what happened in the time of Pharaoh, in the time of Egypt. Right. Money failed. Okay. Let's grab that. This is Genesis 47 and just take it from 13, right? And this is when Joseph was in leadership, right? It says, and there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by the reason of famine. Okay. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan. For the corn which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into the Pharaoh's house. And when money failed in the land of Egypt, all right, see, money ran out, money failed, all right, same thing that's going to happen here in America, okay? All the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence, for the money faileth, okay? And, you know, people gonna try to barter in these last days, just like he's bartering in here, right? And Joseph said, give your cattle and I will give you for your cattle if money fail. And they brought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses and for flocks and for the cattle of the herds and for the asses. And he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. Okay. And that's pretty much what's going to happen in these last days. When the money collapses, the only thing that's going to go up is the precious metals, you see, and then you're going to be able to barter for a little bit with the precious metals, but it's only going to last so long. It's going to be a temporary thing. All right, because still gold and silver is of the past. Gold and silver is not of this new world order, man. You see, it says, when that year was ended, they came unto him the second year and said unto him, we will not hide it from my Lord, how that our money is spent. My Lord also has our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my Lord, but our bodies and our lands, you see. And eventually, because there was no money, all right, they gave up their bodies and they gave up their lands, the same way they're going to do in these last days, man. All right, that's why people going to give up into the system. They're going to give their bodies, okay, up for that RFID, because that's going to be the only outcome that Esau leaves you with, you see. And that's not that's not the only outcome that the Lord has left you with. The Lord has given you the outcome. All right. He said, trust in his name and you be good. Right. The name of the Lord is a strong tower and the righteous man runneth into it and is safe. So the only thing that's going to be able to deliver you in that day, all right, is going to be Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, as the scripture we just read earlier. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. You see? So the righteousness of this wisdom, the righteousness of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, the faith that you have towards this ministry, right, is what's going to be able to save you in those last days, man. Okay. So money will fail in America. All right. Let's grab this and I'll pretty much close it out. All right. This is Ezekiel 7 and straight to the point. And let's grab it from the NLT. Okay. This is 19. It says they will throw their money in the streets, tossing it out like worthless trash. Their silver and gold won't save them on the day of the Lord's anger. It will neither satisfy nor feed them, for their greed can only trip them up. You see? So because you made God your money, all right? I mean, you made money your God, all right? You thought that, you know, being able to, you know, heap some treasures together for these last days, okay, you thought that you were going to be able to save yourself with that, man. It's not going to be able to happen, because you're going to throw your money on the streets like worthless trash, man, because that dollar will collapse and never come back. Neither will your gold and neither will your silver, you see. That's why it's important to have this wisdom, man. All right. Wisdom is above rubies. All right. Let's grab that. Wisdom above rubies. All right, this is Proverbs 20, no. Let me grab it like this. This is, come on. For wisdom is above rubies, KJV. This is Proverbs 8 and 11. It says, for wisdom is better than rubies. You see, wisdom is better than rubies, and all things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. You see, so wisdom is above, all right, the rubies of this world, man. Gold, silver, above money, period. This is why the Lord said, you are rich. I know thy poverty, your tribulations, but thou art rich because you have the wisdom, you have the knowledge, you see, the true stability. In this society, you know, women like to go after men. Why? Because they're stable with money. All right. But see, the true stability of thy times is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the Lord has bestowed upon us, man. You see, and nothing could compare to that. And that's why we continue to put our trust in the Heavenly Father, all right, rather than in men, you see, rather than in riches, okay? Riches, let's end it with this. This is, you know, watching for riches consumeth the flesh, as the scriptures say. This is Ecclesiasticus 31:1, and it reads, watching for riches consumeth the flesh, and the care thereof driveth away sleep. Watching care will not let a man slumber, as a sore disease breaketh sleep. The rich has great labor in gathering riches together, and when he resteth, he is filled with his delicates. The poor laboreth in his poor estate, and when he leaveth off, he is still needy. He that loveth gold shall not be justified, and he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. Gold has been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present. It is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it, and every fool shall be taken therewith. You see, blessed is the rich that is found without blemish, and has not gone after gold. You see, it is a stumbling block onto these people, man, because it doesn't truly exist. All right. It's not going to be able to give you salvation in the day of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai's wrath, man. You see? So that's exactly why you have to, you know, put these things behind you, man, and get and make no provision for the flesh. Refrain from that appetite. That's just a pleasure. It's just an appetite, you see? And none of that is actually going to be able to make you prosper, okay? The scriptures say in Joshua 1:8, right, that this word shall not depart from thy mouth. You should meditate in it daily, for then thou shalt make thy way prosperous and successful, you see? But the riches is not going to make you successful, man. The wisdom is, and it's important to have that, you see? So call Haloim La Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai for being able to have this wisdom, man. So I'll leave it there through the spirit. Lord willing, you were satisfied and edified. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, call Haloim La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom.